Have you ever wondered what causes wildfires and how resources are allocated to prevent their spread? In this project, you will use machine learning to predict areas of wildfire susceptibility and their intensities. First, on the project page, you want to scroll all the way down here under the Setting up the Google Colab environment section and download the Python notebook. Then on your My Drive, you want to make a folder called Wildfire Prediction and upload your Python notebook. To open the notebook, all you need to do is double-click on it. If you've never used Google Colab before, Google Colab is a platform where you can write, run, and share code. To run a code block, all you need to do is press this play button here, or you can click on a code block and hold Ctrl-Enter on your keyboard, or Command-Enter if you're on a MacBook. To create a new code block, you can click on this button over here, and to delete it, all you need to do is click on the trash icon to the right of each cell. Now we'll start with collecting our data. We'll be collecting from NASA's Fire Information for Resource Management System, and the instrument we'll be using is MODIS simply because it has the most data, but feel free to use the others if you would like. And from here, you want to download 6 years of data so that you can train on 5 and test on the last. By best practice, it's better to typically choose more recent data because there's usually better tracking techniques and just more data overall in more recent years than in previous years. In my case, I do want to use the most recent years, so I'll be downloading data from 2019 to 2024. So I'll first go into 2019. And here you see data from a bunch of different countries. Here you can pick any country you'd like, but make sure that there is enough data. And by enough data, I mean at least 1 point per day. So the file should be around 365 rows or more, because the profit model works best when there is at least 1 point per day. In my case, I am most interested in the United States, so I'll be downloading this CSV file here. And I'll also go back to the other years and download all of the data for the US. Once you've downloaded all your data, you want to upload it to your wildfire prediction folder on the Google Drive. Now, back to our notebook. We'll first install the profit model by running the first code block under importing libraries. After that, the next code block will be importing various libraries. This makes it so that we can use functions that other people have already created. Finally, this last code block in this section will mount our Google Drive so that we have access to our CSV files that we uploaded earlier. Next, we'll be loading our data into a Pandas DataFrame, and all you need to do is run this code block. This code block will detect all of the CSV files in your folder and combine them together to create a data frame and also order them by date. And if you go back to your wildfire prediction folder on the Google Drive, you'll now see there's a new file called df2019 to 2024.csv, and this is just all of your data combined. And if you wanted the file to have a different name, you can change the name over here. And this next code block will simply load your data from that file. This makes it so that you load the data from the new CSV file instead of combining the data again, which took a while to run. It's a good idea to visualize your data before starting any machine learning, so that is what we'll be doing next. We'll run the first code block in this section, which defines a helper function that will calculate the monthly FRP values for a given year and show them in a bar graph. And if we run this next code block, it will create a bar graph. We'll see the average FRP values for the year 2024. Here we can see there's a clear peak in the summer months and the other months are much lower. And right now it is displaying data for the year 2024, but you can change this to the year 2023, for example, and it will show you the data for 2023. We can also display the FRP values on the map itself. And to do that, first run this code block and then this next one. And we can see it display the fires for the year 2024 in July. You can zoom in to see where all the fires are. All the yellow ones are smaller fires, and the darker red it is, the more intense it is. And if you scroll over, you can see that it's listing the FRP values. Again, you can change the year or the month. And you can also take out the month in this function so that you can see the data for the whole year. And now we can see all the fires in the year 2024. Have fun viewing different dates for your data and try to detect which areas and which seasons tend to have the most wildfires. Next, we'll start pre-processing our data to get it ready for our machine learning model. We'll start with dropping some columns that we will not need for our analysis, which would be these columns right here. And I explain why we're dropping each variable on the project page, so check it out. But for now, all you need to do to drop it is run this code block. And we can now see that those columns are not in our data frame anymore. Now we'll filter our data by region. The US is quite a large country, so our model will be more accurate if we filter it by a region. And to do that, we'll need the latitude and longitude values. I'm using this website called geojason.io to find the latitude and longitude. You can zoom in on the area that you're interested in, and in my case, I'm interested in wildfires in California. And you want to select this square icon over here and then create a box around the area you're interested in. And you'll see the coordinates for the box on the right hand side over here. And in particular, you want to pay attention to the second and the fourth one. This value will be the minimum longitude and then the maximum longitude and then the minimum latitude and the maximum latitude. And then back to the notebook, just enter the values for the min and max latitude and the min and max longitude. And then you want to run this code block to filter our data set. And we can see that we have plenty of data to work with even after filtering our data. And the next code block will just display the region that you have selected, just to make sure that everything is correct. If you have made a mistake in entering the latitude and longitude values, or you simply want to change the region, you can just go back to this code block and change accordingly and then run this code block again. Finally, we'll run the last code block in our pre-processing section. And this will just select the median FRP value for each day. So now there's only one value per day. We'll visualize our region data first. So let's run this first code block. And we can see our average daily FRP values for the region that we have selected. And in my case, I chose California. We can see that there is quite the clear seasonality in wildfire season, which makes it perfect for the profit model. Now we'll create some extra features to help our profit model identify seasonality. And this would include the month, the week of the year, and the season. So if we type in x.head, we can see that month, week of the year, and season has been added to our data frame. And if we run this next code block, we will see a box plot showing how FRP values will vary by season. We can see that on average, FRP is the highest in the summer and the lowest in the winter. But in each season, it looks like there's a lot of outliers. Now we'll split our data into train and test. Since I have data from 2019 to 2024, and I want to predict the year 2024, I'll choose January 1st, 2024 as the split date. And if we run this code block, everything in the red is our training set, and we'll be using this to predict the blue, which will be our test set. Now we can finally train our model. The profit model requires a certain format for it to work, so this first code block will do just that. And finally, this code block will start training our model. And we can see that this model trained really quickly in a total of 1 second. On to checking how accurate our model was. And then we'll display our predictions in a graph. We can see that our model did quite a good job at predicting FRP values for the year 2024. It generally follows the same pattern as the year 2024, although there are a few outliers. And let's plot the next one by running the next code block. And we can see that this graph is essentially the zoomed in version of this one, but with the inclusion of the rolling average. The rolling average is the average of the last 28 days in this case. It is good to compare our forecast to the rolling average to account for the fluctuations. And we can see here that our forecast is much closer to the rolling average than it is to the actual values. Now we'll calculate our MAE, which stands for mean absolute error. And this would be the average size of errors. And here we can see that our MAE is about 16.76, which means that on average, the model's predictions differ from the actual values of FRP by about 16.76 units. Now we'll calculate the MAPE, which stands for mean absolute percentage error. And this is essentially the MAE, but instead of average error, it's the percentage error. And we can see that the model is about 45% off usually, meaning that the model's predictions are about 45% off from the actual value, which actually does make sense considering all of the outliers. And if we scroll back up, we can see that our profit forecast is typically quite off from the actual values because there are so many outliers. We can also plot our predictions on the map itself. So run this code block. I'm going to be plotting the predictions for the year 2024 in the month of 7, which is July. So just run this code block. And if we zoom in, we'll see our predictions for the year 2024 in July. And we can also compare it to the actual values by running the next code block. And again, we can zoom in and see the actual fires for that year and month. And from here, you can change the year and the month, and if you want to compare them, make sure that these values are the same. From here, there are lots of variations that you can do with this project. For example, you can predict variables other than FRP, such as brightness or confidence. You can experiment with creating a smaller or bigger region to train on. You could also change the intensity filter for the fires, so maybe you want to filter between 100 and 400, so that would account for a lot of the outliers. And with that, we're finished with this coding project. Remember that you can find written instructions for this project as well as the code notebook linked in the description below. And for 1,000 other projects for all areas of science and engineering, visit our website www.sciencebuddies.org.